Welcome back. If you happen to check out social media this week, you probably came up in your news feed a frightening new report from NASA. A nearly doubling the chances of an asteroid colliding with Earth in 2032. That number has since been updated to near zero, but it raises the question of our preparedness for this sort of situation. Joining us now for more is former NASA astronaut and former commander of the International Space Station, Leroy Chiao. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Great to have you. Commander, it looks like possibly a catastrophe was averted, but does NASA have it in place to handle a situation like this? How closely are we tracking these asteroids?
Yeah, this is something that people have talked about for a long time. 66 million or so years ago, a large asteroid or meteor hit in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of America. And most scientists agree that that ended up changing the climate so much that the dinosaurs and a lot of the life on Earth was wiped out. So there's been a concern for a number of decades about this kind of thing. Now, having said that, of course, things hit the Earth every day. We have meteors, large meteors that survive re-entry into the atmosphere. And, a few years ago, there was the Chelyabinsk meteor that in Siberia that exploded near a city and shattered windows. But we've been concerned about this for a while, but the chances of an actual hit like this are pretty low. And even so, if it comes down, if a large object comes down, most of the Earth is covered by ocean, and there's a lot of vast areas of tundra, like in Siberia, northern Canada, Australia, things like that, that basically are empty. So, the short answer is we don't really have a way to deal with this. Now, a few years ago, NASA had a spacecraft that impacted an asteroid to see if we could deflect its path. But as of today, we really don't have a so-called defense system, although it's been talked about for a number of years.
Yeah, it seems to me, actually, we need one since it's happened. I mean, you said 66 million years ago, but, you never know. As you know, space is vast and ever ongoing. Is there any chance that we could be blindsided, that something pops up very soon, very quick, that escapes our analysis?
It's possible. I mean, astronomers, of course, are looking at, observing the skies and cataloging all the objects they can find. But it's possible, of course, that there's something that we haven't noticed before that could pop up and could be on its way to us. But, even if we had a way of hitting an object like that, you could always make it worse. It's an old adage we have, especially in spaceflight, is think about what you're going to do, because you can always make it worse. If we see something coming towards us and we hit it, and maybe it would have missed us, and maybe we're going to scatter it into several large objects, one of which could actually hit us when it might have all missed, right? And so a lot of, if you want to put effort and resources into this, it would take a lot of research, a lot of work to figure out, number one, how do we detect all these objects? Number two, how do we hit it in a way that doesn't make it more likely to hit us? And so it's kind of an ongoing debate on, 66 million years ago, are we due for another impact like that, or do we have another 66 million years?
Yeah, to your point, first do no harm.
Right.
Seems like NASA is not also free from some drama. As we know, there are astronauts who have been stuck in space since last year, and Elon Musk said that he would try to rescue them initially, but he says that he was rebuffed by Joe Biden. Then the commander of the International Space Station said Musk was lying. Musk spoke about this yesterday at CSPAC. Take a listen.
So obviously it was an antagonistic situation. Those astronauts were supposed to be up there for 8 days, and now they're up there for 8 months. Does that make any sense? And we obviously could have brought them back sooner, but they didn't want anyone who supported President Trump to look good, basically.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Commander, what do you make of this entire situation?
Right, well, the decision was made after Butch and Sonny went up there in the Boeing Starliner. They had some issues, The decision was made properly, I believe, that they should not return on the Starliner, even though we all felt that the Starliner would probably make it back okay. It just wasn't worth the risk. And the Starliner did come back okay. But then it was decided that they would just become part of the Crew 9 mission that was about to launch, so that meant that they were going to have to stay for about 8 months, right? And so that was obviously disruptive to their personal lives, but they've both flown long duration missions before, and so it was no problem for them to go ahead and take that role, even though it was disruptive to their lives. We are trained to be adaptable and to take care of the situation, any situation that arises, and that's exactly what they did. They're consummate professionals. Now, having said that, Elon Musk is not wrong in that they could have ordered him to send up another spacecraft, a Dragon spacecraft, a SpaceX Dragon, to go and get them. That would have been a dedicated mission to do, but the decision was made back then that they would become part of the next crew that was going to launch, that was going to stay for over half a year. And so I'm sure that the overture was made by Mr. Musk to the administration, but it was rejected, and they basically said, well, we're going to wait, and they're going to have to suck it up for 8 months. So in a sense, he's correct, but at the same time, it was probably NASA's recommendation that, hey, let's just make these two part of the next crew, and they're just going to have to suck it up and stay up there for 8 months. So, I don't obviously don't have any insight into the machinations of what happened, but it is true that he could have sent a Dragon to get them a dedicated mission.
Very, very interesting discussion. Commander Leroy Chiao, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.